All right, hell yeah. This little drop cloth fits in perfect. And I'm going to show you a way that I'm going to kind of cut this to size. And so we just kind of have it in here. I fold it over, push it in, and then I just, made a line right there. So I'll cut that and then keep on doing that. All right, hell yeah. I'm just kind of sitting down in the boat, and we have it cut out to there. And then over here, I'm going to show you kind of what we have. And then so I just fold it over, and then I'm going to cut down that line. And so there's the mark that I just cut down. All right, that's cut, and now that's laying in place real nice. All right, let's finish it. All right, hell yeah. And I probably should have, I don't know. I'm fine with it. But right here, well, no. I mean, I maybe had an opportunity to push that up, but now I'm fine because I want these to be nice straight edges so I can actually wrap that nose real good. All right, hell yeah. All right, that's looking pretty good. And we're gonna wrap this nose and cut it to how we want it. All right, hell yeah. And so I'm just gonna keep it simple. Here's the edge, and I'm just gonna go about 1/2 inch from the edge. And when all this tightens up, it might be more or less. Hopefully it's even just a little bit less, but I don't want it to really overlap. I don't care at this point, but I just thought if I really did an overlap, it wouldn't stick, and I'm going to have to make a seam anyway. And so I thought that was smart. And once I get this cut, let's do that, talk more. All right, hell yeah. And I'm going to do this with the same technique I did on the other. Before I said, I'm going to flip it upside down and put it on these big pieces of cardboard and then layer up one side and then flip it right side back. That's the trickiest, is like, which way did I actually, orient it? And so, hell yeah, I'll put like an A on that corner and then a B on that corner, and then I'm good to go. All right, hell yeah. And so this is the right side up, so I'm going to flip it upside down, glue the hell out of it, and then we're just going to lay it in. If I did put a little extra glue on here, I don't really want to. I could do it around the perimeter. That would make the most sense. But I thought it was pretty good just to do it kind of in one shot. That's what we seem to do on this, but we didn't, you know what I mean? We laid it down and then we kind of peeled it back and, really got the seams good. But it was just the exterior. I think everything else, because even this is like bubbling up. And so I think we got a good technique. I'm going to open this garage door and potentially do it out there. I just found out that this stuff does fume, and the fumes are carcinogenic, but it's way less, it feels way less toxic, headache wise and stuff and all that, compared to epoxy for sure. The glue is just, I thought it was inert, but now it does have stuff in it. All right, hell yeah. All right, hell yeah, work smarter, not harder. So we have a painter's cloth, and we're going to set up our little station out here. Hell yeah. All right, hell yeah, we got our panel down, and I'm so glad I'm making this video because it's upside down. All right, hell yeah. It's an eggplant. All right, we're going to glue it up. Let's do it. All right, hell yeah. And I do think I need to prep the boat, but that's looking good. All right, hell yeah. So we got that all glued, and then we got that wetted. Booyah. All right, hell yeah. So we got that in place. It's all glued down. Stuff like this I can improve upon. On the next go, obviously we'll have a certain shape in there. You know what I mean? This, we're just at the point where it's just like, nah, let's get a skin on it. And the other thing that we have to do, it's such a rough surface. I mean, unless I wear just Carhartts and just like survival gear, for this abrasion. But holy hell, I mean, so what we're going to do is we're going to foam the entire thing. So basically from probably about 6 inches all the way around, and I'll be using that, great stuff. And I'll just basically, I don't know, almost like the space shuttle you would coming into atmosphere, you know, tiles and you know, like a heat shield. I don't know how that all works, but anyway, but basically we can do it like brickwork. It doesn't really matter as long as we got foam, you know, just all over, just every square little inch. Then if I go to bump up, you know, an elbow, I'm not just gonna open my forearm up, because that's basically what this surface is. It's the roughest surface. But anyway, and I just want to say that's like splitting hairs, because I mean, talking about some of the negatives, sure, it's a little bit of weight. It's not super strong. It's not fiberglass, but we got the strength from the cardboard, and that really allowed us to reduce the weight. There's a chance that even just that cardboard was lighter than had this thing been foam. You know what I mean? So we might be still at the lightest we could do a poor man's fiberglass, even if we had a foam and just pure foam, pure poor man's. But the next boat for sure, we're going to, if this tests well, because if this has things that I want to do another boat just like this, you know what I mean, to experiment with some of the dynamics, hey, this is a pretty good method to get something on the water. And I don't think it's not breaking the bank for weight. I did talk about how performance, like this stuff, obviously isn't going to be the slickest in the water. And so having like a fiberglass bottom, so you know what I mean, even if I did the poor man's fiberglass on the bottom and then poor man's on the top. So hell yeah. Okay, I'm just pumped. And this actually, it's looking almost done. So we just have the two teeth. Back there I have a square. So I'm at least gonna do that, you know, before I call it a day. I'm at least gonna get some glue on both of those and put a piece of fabric across there. So hell yeah. All right, let's do that.